everyone. This is Miss Marianne from PLC Homeschool, and I'm here today to do reading comprehension tips or techniques for a first grader, second grader, and third grader. Here's all the information you need to reach me would be at www.plchomeschool.simplesite.com. This is my website. And if you'd like to reach me through email, that's plckids14@aol.com. Or you can watch all of my videos on YouTube at PLC Homeschool. If you have any questions or you have any comments, please leave a comment after I'm done doing the reading comprehension video. And if there's any videos that you would like to see, educational videos, then go ahead and leave me a reply. So let's get started. I have my reading comprehension books here. I have my first grade reading comprehension book. This is Reading Spectrum, Grade 1. This is Skill Builders Reading, Grade 2. Reading Comprehension, Grade 3, and another Reading Comprehension, Grade 2. And I like these two Reading Comprehension books because both of these books also come with incentive stickers that encourage your student to read and answer questions. And if they do a good job on that, you can go ahead and give them a sticker or make a poster next to their desk where they do them, or a special place in your home. And that helps to encourage them to do more reading and answering questions. Now, in the classroom, they do give them lots of reading comprehension that would be for any type of reading. So, example, it could be in math, it can be language arts, it can be they're reading a history story and then have to answer questions with it. It can be basic reading. They're giving them a paragraph and they have to answer questions to it. And I know that state testing and other testing is also based on reading. So, reading is very, very important for the school-age students, beginning in kindergarten, and keep everything basic up until first grade, second grade, and third grade. After third grade, the reading is pretty fluent. They need to read at a fluent pace. So let's start about for our younger learners, our elementary school learners. So first graders, what I would do with the first graders, I would give them the reading comprehension. You usually want to start with beginning sounds, as we see here. This is all basic for the first graders. So beginning sounds are good. You're going to go over more beginning sounds. I'll start with all the beginning sounds. And you're going to start with the blends. And then you're going to give them endings and blends. So what bat ends with b, act. So we got to break down all of these little steps before we get there. There's quite a few steps. I'm going to go ahead and show you my PLC book that I use right before they start learning how to read and getting basic reading down. And this is what I keep them in. It's a homeschool review folder, and I use this at PLC all the time for younger students, for kindergartners, first graders, second graders, and third graders. And what I have in here are comprehension worksheets, of course, but I have the PLC phonics. So what I do every morning in the classroom or with my new tutoring students that I get, I give them two letters, the I and the P. So it's IP, and I have them read all the letters that end with IP. So Z, IP, IP, L, IP. Da, ip, ha, ip, s, ip, t, hip. So they repeat after me, and then we sound out the words zip, rip, lip, dip, hip, and so forth. And I also use the IN. A lot of the words end in IN, so the IN sound is in. So I have them add the beginning sound fa, in, in, pa, in. So they read all of these with me. And then we move to our at words. At words are very common also, and that is the at. And it says at. We add our beginning sounds. At, cat, ba, at, bat, at, rat, and so forth. So I use the ip, the in, and the at first. And once they master all of these and are doing them on their own, then we move on. These are the basic phonics, the ones that have the two words that make one sound. They blend together, okay? And then we have the basic sounds. So I go through the whole alphabet. The student puts their fingers on the dot and they say the alphabet sound. So they'll say A. They'll say A says A, S, T, D, P, B, E, H, M. So you have them go through all the sounds, and the sounds that they miss, what I have is a chart for each student that looks just like this. So I print them out, put their name on it, and I'll circle the ones that they miss. And when they're ready to move on, all of the circles will disappear, and I want them to master this. Once they master this, then we go ahead and add on our different sounds on this side. So first they need to master the basic sounds of the alphabet. I work on days of the week. That's not for phonics. Let's see what else we have here. Numbers. Blends. Blends are very important. Blends to a student, you need to explain that they are two letters that make one sound. Just one sound. Two letters that make one sound. For example, SH says sh, PR says purr. So two letters that make one sound. So once they have all of these mastered, then we start to get into our reading comprehension books. But all of this stuff needs to be done prior to having your student actually read on their own. And we also do the vowel sounds. There's long vowels and short vowels. Long vowels have the line on top and they say their name. So A says A, E says E, I says I, O says O, and U says U. These are the 5 long vowel sounds. And of course we go over the short sounds. Short A says ah, short E says eh, short I, eh, short O, ah, and short U, So once they have the long vowel sounds mastered, then we also move on with all of the other things that I just mentioned before. I have other samples in here. I have the ET, et, and I have the EN, N, and I go over these with them also. I also have other blends here that I like them just to tell me the letters. BL says bull, CL says cool, FL says fool. So all of the blends here, and once they're getting the blends down, I ask them to repeat a word that starts with the BL, bull, and they'll say blue. CL, cool, clown. So they'll give me examples of that too, which also means they're mastering it. Let's see what else we have here. Segmenting phonics. This is more for the preschoolers, the transitional kindergartners, and the beginning kindergartners. These are segmenting 3 to 4 phonemes, which is phonics. So we give them the 3-letter word and we sound out each one. Ka, at, ha, at, da, n. So we do the 3-letter words first. And once they're able to read all of these and sound them out, this helps with the blending, with their blends. This also helps when it comes with the 2-letter phonics, long vowels, more blends with the words, and basic sounds. These are the most important for the preschoolers, the 2, 3, and 4-year-olds. We can use that. And then we get onto the PLC phonics, which is the words that they're creating on their own. So once you go over all of that, I keep it all in a folder and I review it with them all the time. Once they master all of that, then we get into our reading comprehension books. And some tips I'm going to give you for this. I'm going to start with one of these books. I'll start with the reading comprehension 2nd grade, or actually 3rd grade book. What it is inside is it has a simple passage. This is a 3rd grader, so this is the 3rd grade. This is the first page first. It's a simple passage. It's called Habitat for Humanity. They'll give them a simple passage to read, and then they'll give them some questions on the bottom. And what I like to do is I like to actually photocopy this page because I use my books over and over again. So I photocopy the page. I have them read the first paragraph. And what I do is I have them get a pencil and mark off where the first paragraph ends. So if you can see the first paragraph here, I'll mark it for you. This is my first paragraph. So I have them read the first paragraph first. Slowly, clearly, and concisely. That way they're able to understand what they're reading. First paragraph first. Then they'll take a little bit of a break, and then I'll move them on to their second paragraph. Second paragraph is next. They're going to read this slowly, carefully, and concisely. And once they jump from the first to the second paragraph, they understand what's going on, hopefully. If not, we can reread, but I do advise having them read it one time because in the classroom, they don't have much time. They need to read and get it done. So then I move on to the last little paragraph here, and they read the ending or the conclusion. Okay, so I have them do paragraph 1, 2, and then 3. Slowly, clearly, and concisely. We want to get it done the first time. And then I give them a highlighter. It can be any color highlighter you want. I have a green one here. I offer them a highlighter. And what I have them do is read question 1. And here we have, on the bottom, we have all of our questions. Question 1 says, who started Habitat for Humanity? So they read the question, and they come back up to their paragraphs, and I give them hints like paragraph 1 would usually contain the answer to maybe 1 and 2. It just depends on how far they're going to go on the story. So paragraph 1 would most likely be in answer 1 would most likely be in paragraph 1. So I have them take their highlighter and highlight where they find the answer, and then I have them put a little 1 by their answer. So they know where they found answer 1. So they found the answer, they highlight where they found it, and they put a 1 by it. That way it keeps them going along. And what it does is they found the first answer, so wherever they found the first answer, the second answer is going to follow. So we go on number 2, we keep reading, we find the answer to number 2, we highlight it and we put a number 2 by it. We mark the answer. Now after number 2, usually right following is the answer for number 3. So this is all done in a passage. They put the answer for number 1 above. Right after that's number 2, then number 3, then number 4 somewhere here, and then you'll be done. So if you go chronologically, answer 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you use your highlighter, it helps you from jumping all over. And when you're jumping all over, you're looking for things that are just not relevant to what the questions are asking you. So you want to stay in a concise and also structured mode here for reading comprehension. You want them to highlight, and that way they can visually see. You can take away the highlighters after they become more of a steady reader and they can find the answers quicker. This helps them to become a steady reader and to find the answers quicker because everything is done with these techniques. You do want them to follow along. You don't want them to look for number 1 way at the bottom and then jump to the top and jump all over the page. It's all in sequence. And even when they're testing, state testing, when they're doing testing in the classroom, when they're reading science and doing a test, it's usually going to be on page 1 is answer 1. Page 2 is answer 2. So it just happens to work like that. So they have more reading comprehension here. This one is classifying animals. It's a little bit smaller of a passage, and there's also 4 answers. So answer number 1 should be somewhere along the top, and we're going to mark it with our highlighter, mark a number 1 by it, and then number 2 should be following somewhere. If we're way down here looking for number 2, we're not following along the passage. Okay? Another hint that I like to give third graders, this is for third graders, is to read the questions first. If they read the questions first, they have an idea of what they're looking for, and as they read along the first paragraph, they read the passage, they can keep in their head some of the questions that they're looking for. So they know what they're reading for. They're not just reading for fun, they're reading to answer specific questions. Okay? For the second graders, it's a little bit easier. I have a second grade reading book. This one has more poems and things that they do in second grade. So like what words rhyme. So you have a poem that they read through, and I do the same technique. I have them read the first part of the poem, then the second part, then the third part, and then I have them come over and read what they want for their questions, and when they find their answers, they're going to highlight. If they're not looking for answers in the poem, they're writing their own answer, then they're going to start with complete sentences. I do also require they write complete sentences so they understand what they're stating. Usually they have little things like rhyming pairs for second graders. Describe what you see when you go up high in a swing. And what they're doing here is they're not really doing comprehension. They're asking or trying to see if a second grader can write a complete sentence answering this question. So it says, describe what you see when you go up high in a swing. You're going to answer that question. So we'll make an answer for this question. I see a green tree when I go high up in a swing. So I answered the question using the words from the question. If second graders are having a hard time writing or having a hard time spelling, they can always use the words that are in the question. That's how you answer a question, with the exact same words they use. Down here, they're asking them to make a list of same and different, and these are going to be found in the poem. So they're going to highlight where they find their same and different and write the list for me. So these are a little bit more to see if students understand what they're reading, but also to see if students can create a complete sentence with the capitals, no spelling errors, and a period or question mark depending on what they're asking, or exclamation point. So this is more of a second grade reading comprehension. But I still use the technique of reading one stanza at a time if it's a poem, and make sure that you follow. Answer 1 would usually be above here on the poem. Answer 2 will follow. Answer 3, and then 4 would usually be below if it is an answer for them to find in the poem. Okay, let's do our first grade book. First grade book, you really do have to use this homeschool review folder. Everything that I showed you in here, the blends, the alphabet sounds, the vowels, the EN, the IN, the AT, all of those things need to be mastered before you really get into reading with a first grader, because they really do, a lot of first graders don't read on their own. They read with help, so you just want to make sure they have the basic techniques to help them along. You don't just want to throw them this book and say, okay, let's read. You want to help them before they get there, so no frustration is involved. They have little passages here. These are very basic. They have little passages and a picture. So what we do with first graders is we have them try to read the passage, and we guide them along. We sound out words for them and so forth, but we have them use the picture to try to guess at the word. Sometimes the picture helps them guess the word and sometimes the beginning sound. So if they don't know what this word is, we can say, what sound do you see at the beginning? They will say duck. And then you'll tell them, well, let's look at our picture and what are we talking about here? And then they'll say duck. So they'll get it once they start seeing the pictures, matching the sounds, and reading slowly and carefully. Over here, they do beginning sounds with them. They just want them to write the beginning sounds. Like I said, all of this has to be done first before they can actually read fluently on this side of the page. A lot of work for first graders. With first graders, I don't use the highlighter technique because they're not reading passages on their own. I just have them go through, do their beginning sounds, blends. Once they get to over here, or they have a passage on their own and they're reading a little bit more fluently, I'm going to teach them here how to use the highlighter to follow along and answer the question one by one. For example, on this one it says, in this story, they want to know what happened first, second, and third. And the way we find out what happens first, second, and third, we come to our first paragraph. What happened first in this paragraph? We write a number 1. We come back and we follow along. What happened second? Is it there? No, then we keep reading. What happened second? Here it is. This is what happened second. We put a 2. And then we obviously know what happened third. So, like I said, reading comprehension is a lot of staying focused and doing one question at a time. They're all going to flow through your reading comprehension paper. It doesn't matter if the story is super long. Answer number 1 is always at top. Answer number 2 follows. Answer number 3 follows. Answer number 4 follows. And finally, your final answer follows. So it's all a follow-through method is what I teach the first graders, second graders, and third graders. Here's lots of comprehension books that you can find. You can also get comprehension, basic comprehension worksheets that you can print out and use over and over. Now, these are for first graders. They use a picture, and they're going to ask them to read the sentences and tell us what's happening in the picture. Some things I use that look like this. I also have reading comprehension practice. These are basic ones that I made up. I made up a very simple paragraph and a simple question. That way we can get, this is how the beginners will start. They'll read a simple paragraph, find the simple answer. Another paragraph, find the simple answer. So there's only one question for each little paragraph there. Map the story out if they're going to be reading a chapter book or they're going to read a book that has more than 5 pages. You want them to map it out. What's the main idea of the book? What happened first? What happened second? What happened third? And what happened at the end of the story? Once they map out the story, then they understand it a little more. When it comes to questions, they can use this to find out, where do I look for my answer? What happened first? I go into the first chapter, second chapter, third chapter, and at the end. That helps them map out the story. This is for a first grader where you have the pictures. They read them. They match the pictures. And this is also cause and effect. Cause and effect happens a lot in reading comprehension. If I do something, what's the effect of me doing it? If I have an egg in my hand and I crack it, what's going to be the effect of the egg cracking? The egg's going to spill everywhere. So there's cause and effect in everything that we read and do in everyday life. So those are some of my worksheets that I created. So don't forget to make your homeschool review folder or your preschool folder or your first grade folder, anything of that sort, to put all your, I just used a regular black marker, made them myself. I have them in actual little covering so they don't get destroyed. And I use these for every student that I teach beginning reading to, for kindergartners, first grade, second grade, and third graders. So that's what we have here. I also offer reading comprehension educational school boxes on my website that I give you. It's www.plchomeschool.simplesite.com. There you can find reading comprehension for kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and third grade. And I'm currently working on my 4th, 5th, and 6th grade reading comprehension boxes. Thank you, and I hope this helps. All these techniques help you. If you have any comments, please leave them below. If you would like to see a certain educational concept be displayed here at PLC, I can do that for you also. And I thank you guys for your time, and you have a pink day.